Hello, and welcome to another episode of Warm Hugs with Suzanne. I'm Suzanne Mann, and thank you for giving me some of your time. And that of my guest, I'm very honored to have a gorgeous woman with me today. Now, I'm not going to actually say too much about her because I think she's going to be able to speak for herself. But what I am going to say is I think of this woman as a Tongan queen. She's a fashionista. And I'm actually going to quote from some of her Instagram posts and her, yes, look at the surprise. If you can see her, you'll be like, look at the surprise look on her face. I was wondering what to call this episode. And I think that I'm actually going to take a quote from SoseFina, Fina. And one of the things she said in one of her posts was, I am determined to make every moment count. And I love that. And I thought, you know what? Maybe this episode is called Making Every Moment Count. Now she says, I age in peace. I'm loving life on repeat, wife to an incredible man, and I'm on a plane somewhere. Welcome, Fina.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome, Suzanne. Thank you. I appreciate that. To everyone who's listening, who's first time on the podcast, this is a great opportunity for me to get out of my comfort zone. When Suzanne asked me, I told her I was nervous. And then I thought, what am I nervous about? I'm speaking about myself and my life experiences. Perhaps other will relate or perhaps not. But I know there are some people out there that may relate to my story.
Yeah. And I was truly so incredibly surprised that Fina kept telling me that she was nervous. And I'm like, oh my goodness, when you when you hear what this woman does sometimes, I'm thinking this is that I was so surprised because you have such a beautiful, exuberant personality and do so many incredible things that it was hard to believe that coming on my little podcast would make you nervous. So I did want to start by just seeing how you were checking in this morning.
So how am I checking in? I'm checking in by showing up this
Nice.
morning. I'm checking in on being on time this morning. This morning is Friday, so happy Friday, everyone. It's Friday, as I always say. But yes, and how are you this morning?
Well, it's interesting because Fina's actually on a mobility stretch challenge that I have going at the moment. And I've been feeling really good this week and I've been getting up and doing it. And this morning I did it at like 4:30 in the morning. Then I went for a walk, then I went to the gym, and at the gym I tweaked my back and have had it in a spasm ever since. So I must admit, I am not I'm not checking in my normal self in body. In mind, I feel great and I'm so excited to be here. But again, it was one of the things where I said to Fina, you know what? This is what this episode is also about because we have challenges in life. Life is not always smooth sailing. There are
Right.
always going to be things thrown in our way. And where I want to later on talk about how we keep going. What do we do? Do we just fall into a heap? An hour ago, I was laying on the floor with an ice pack on my back.
Mm.
I got myself dressed, washed my hair, got up, and I thought, you know what? Of course, I'm going to do this podcast because what else am I going to do? I'm just going to lay around feeling sorry for myself. So that's how I'm checking in. I'm feeling fabulous now. And I would love to start off by, if you don't mind, just letting us know a bit about who you are. What's your background? Who is
Okay,
Fina?
the background. Okay, so my background, it's shaped by major life transitions and moments where I had to start over, rethink everything and choose growth instead of fear. And I'm still doing that to this very present, choosing growth instead of fear. And I'm moving forward and not backwards, because I used to do a lot of backwards stuff, which is okay, but I'd rather look and go forward than backwards these days. And moving forward for me isn't just a part of, you know what? I just lost my thought, which is okay too. Because we're talking in real time, right?
That's it.
Right?
That's it. And we were saying we're
You
going to
know,
have an organic
moving forward is
conversation.
taking experiences from my life and just knowing that hurdles will always come. Life be lifing.
Hmm.
Life be lifing. So, what else is there?
Well, Fina,
Uh,
I know you from the Bahamas. We met in the
yes,
Bahamas,
yes.
but
Celebrating 19 years living in the Bahamas. Do you
this
see
is
how
it.
time flies?
I know you're not Bahamian though, are you?
No, I
By
am
birth.
not. I'm Canadian Polynesian. So I was born in the South Pacific, island called Tonga, way back in the days. And then I was raised in Hawaii. And then after Hawaii, my parents, we moved to Calgary, Canada, because my father had a business in Edmonton. And then I lived there for maybe a couple years. And then my father decided to relocate to Nova Scotia. So I grew up in a beautiful area called Scotts Bay, where it's the home of Cape Split, Nova Scotia. And that's where I spent my primary school all the way up to high school, grade 7. And then I moved to New Zealand. Well, first I moved to Tonga to learn how to speak Tongan and live with my grandma. And then after that, I moved to New Zealand. And then after that, I went back to Canada. So there is a lot of moving around for me and traveling and being involved with my culture. And then I met my husband in university at Wolfville, Acadia, and then he's from the Bahamas. So this is how I ended up in
Right.
the Bahamas. And
Yeah.
it's quite a long journey. It's quite a story, but I'm here, and I'm just handling day by day life and
Yeah.
experiences. I moved here in 2007, and as soon as we moved here, the big decision was to live in Canada or move to the Bahamas, and we chose to move to the Bahamas. And that's where the story gets a little bit off the railings for me. I was in a near fatal car accident in 2007. I was in the hospital at the local PMH for 1 month. I shattered my jaw. It was just a whole change for me, and I felt like being in the hospital for a month and recovering for about 2 years. It changed the dynamics of my life. I I thought I would come to the Bahamas and I would go work at the hotel industry because I did travel and tourism, and I thought this was going to be my journey. But there was other plans made for me, and now I'm a business owner on the island, and I'm a creative, and like we spoke about earlier, life is just lifing.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
mean, I had no idea you had that car accident. Was
yeah.
that like did you find that a turning point for you in your way of thinking about life? Was that a
It
life
certainly
change?
is. It was, Suzanne, it was such a life-changing moment for me. I was in a country where I didn't really know a lot of people. My family was not present. They weren't here, the distance, everything. And so I was laying in the hospital one day and I was just looking and I said, and I prayed, I said, Almighty, you have me. Please protect me. Please protect, there was three of us in the car, my husband, my sister-in-law, myself. And, there was a moment there that I just was like, was this the right decision to move here?
Mm,
And I know that the greater power had obvious a plan for me to be here. And you know, after all that happened, the healing process, yeah, I went into a whole different field after that.
yeah.
I would sit there and watch. watch the TV, and they had the shopping channel on. And so all I did was, watch the shopping channel, and they had people creating jewelry and fashion, and for that, that sparked an interest in my mind. And I was like, you know what? I could do that. But the only problem was I injured my right wrist. So the car, when it caved in, it went through my wrist. So I was unable to, my wrist was damaged. So I was like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. But then it healed like everything else in life.
Yeah.
We heal. And my hand took a surgery and physiotherapy, and eventually my hand did heal, and I have a big scar on it. It looks like a sunshine, but it's a reminder for me what I do when I look at the scar. And I'm just grateful to be alive. Before the accident, I was always happy go lucky, SoseFina, but after the accident, I realized that life is worth living. Yeah.
Wow. And can you explain to us what this isn't just, you don't just have a business. Can you explain
Right.
to us what your business is here in the Bahamas?
Yes. So it was an opportunity for us in the beginning. Four of us ladies, five of us, we gathered together and did a co-op. And it's Craft Cottage Bahamas. And over the years, everyone had different pathways that they wanted to do, but two of us stayed on, and we created Craft Cottage, where it is now, where everything in our shop is all locally handmade by local Bahamians. And we've been supporting that since 2013. And we've made the business that when we first started, we were making everything. And artists knows and designers know that, creating and making everything, it's a 24/7 on the go, on the go, on the go. And then we decided, after meeting local artists and artisans in the community, that there's so much beautiful work in abundance here in the Bahamas. And when I say the Bahamas, I mean all the islands.
Mm,
And we handpick every piece that comes into the shop. We do a lot of the creativity work ourselves as well. And, in all honesty, there was even a moment after maybe a 5-year span that myself was, you know, I'm like, I just need a break.
yeah.
I just, that creativity just kind of lingered on, and then it just went push, like, poof for a little bit. And I'm okay to speak about it because we should,
Mm,
we should. And I took a break, not little, but I took a break for a couple years, and I was just doing minimal creativity and to be inspired. I had to spend a lot of time looking at work and just being inspired around other artists and artisans and just to get that going again. And I would spend time, swimming, snorkeling, beaching, and try to get that inspiration again, because I feel, and this is my personal opinion about this, that sometimes when you're doing too much, you just need a little break from the too much to
mm,
minimize it down a little bit so you can start again.
yeah.
And there's never someone had asked me just recently, what age should you start, or what age should you begin something new, or try something? And I said, there is no age. Okay, there is no age. In my 40s, I started modeling. Who
Yes.
would have thought, right? And not just modeling, like actual runway for Utah Pacific Fashion Runway. I was sitting in the crowd a few years back, and I said, you know what, I could do this too. And it just never doubted in my mind that I could do this. And the following year, I did do that. I modeled with other South Pacific models, and I wore all the designers from the South Pacific, from Fiji, Tonga, New Zealand. It was just so fantastic for me to have that feeling, and that that burst again for me, for just living and feeling
Mm,
alive.
mm,
And I put all that together, and my fashion, my creativity, things that bring me joy, things that like, things that bring me joy. So what brings you joy, Suzanne? What brings you joy?
Gosh, I'm not used to my guests asking me questions.
Yeah,
I, you know what? Sharing people's stories brings me joy. I taped another episode just recently, and because I've had a break for quite a while, and I came down and I said to my family, gosh, I forgot how much I enjoy doing this. And it's not about me, it's about my guests and how I really do. I love bringing people's stories to more of the people that I know and love, you know? And and I just feel like I've been given this opportunity to meet such extraordinary people in my life. And not everyone needs to be rich or famous or well known, but everyone's just got these incredible stories and such amazing wisdom and things to bring, just and I really do. That brings me great joy. And I feel like sometimes we can very often lose our momentum. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to not just do this episode for the 1st of January either. This isn't
mhm,
because it occurred to me that, when it's a new year, so many people are goal setting, what's my goal for this year? And I love that. But you can do it any day of the year.
exactly. You can begin any time that you feel like you want to begin, not
Mm,
because someone is setting a time limit for you, or you need to set the time limit for yourself. That's what
mm.
I've learned. I just celebrated my birthday last year was the big 50. And, you know, as a child, everyone that, would turn above 50 and older, I would be like, oh my gosh, you're just so old, as a child.
Yes.
But now that I am that age and I'm comfortable about saying it and speaking of it, because one day, eventually, everyone will get to that age.
Mm,
And this is my season. This is my season, and my reason and my season is to enjoy life with
mm.
those who mean the most to me, those who shaped me into who the person I am. I lost my grandmother last year in 2025, and it was just a row of loved ones passing away. And, you know, having my grandmother there for me and always, speaking with her and getting encouragement. And it's not that I didn't realize, but in my culture, weaving and creating and designing is a big major part. And my family, my grandmothers, my great great grandmother from Tonga and Samoa, this is what they would do, and their aunts and uncles, and they're still doing it now, right?
Mm,
And this is where I finally realized that this is where my creativity has always been, but I just did not uh, ignite it until after the car accident.
hmm
So I'm just going back to reference for that. So it took something major for me to realize that the path that I was going and the path that I knew that I wanted, so badly after moving here wasn't the path for me.
mm,
And this is why all this, the path for me now is being a creative has ignited and just exploring, exploring. Um, do I want to call it newness? Yes, I suppose newness, but in depth, like of you, of yourself, and your identity. There's always going to be something that it's already been there, but it just hasn't flourished yet. If you understand what I'm
yeah.
saying.
But how do you have enough faith in your creative abilities?
How do I have enough faith?
How
Now
do you
that's a
believe in
great
yourself
question.
enough?
How do you believe in yourself? Listen, it's the foundation that I've I've made here in the Bahamas through friends who've become family that pour into me as I pour into them. Uh, that's how I keep it going. Because yes, you could do it alone, but sometimes when you're alone and in your thoughts, a lot of things can happen. But you have others that anchor you and support you as you support them, right? So that's how I feel on that. My faith is strong. I believe definitely there's a higher power because I tell you, I since going back to the accident, after the accident, I got on an airplane out of the Bahamas, and as it was taking off, the right engine blew up,
Oh,
and and the plane just went back right on the runway. And sometimes we don't share stories because you feel like, oh, it's not really that important, or it's like irrelevant. And then I was sharing stories like just, my truth and what's happened in my life. And people are like, why aren't you talking about this?
mm,
Why aren't you, well, why aren't you speaking about that after a car accident, then, like all these signs for you maybe to move home. What's
yes.
relevant? But no, I said no, you know, no way. I'm not going to let the negativity and all that, it's been happening to me, because it could happen to you. It could
Yeah.
happen to anyone else, right? But it's how you deal with it and
Mm,
the outcome. And the outcome for me being here is is a beautiful place for me.
mm.
Once you surround yourself with others, that's your tribe.
For those who aren't even at that stage where they have the tribe yet, how do they go from doing a painting or maybe writing a story and actually even having enough belief to show someone?
Right. Wow. So let me lean back. Let me lean back and ponder on that one for a minute. You know what, Suzanne? You have to begin somewhere. That's where it starts. You have to begin, and you have to believe in yourself. I've been saying that I'm going to write a book about, the experiences, living on the island, or share my story about being here. And, that negativity always comes in like, who would be interested in that? Who would want to read that? And then you see someone else doing the same thing, like writing up, and you're like, wait. So I need to filter through. You can do this, you got this, and you have supporters that you haven't even met yet.
Hmm. So
So I too
self-talk is a
follow.
big thing for you.
It's a self-talk. I believe it because I know for a fact, and this is my opinion, that I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't hype myself up, you
Hmm.
know? Me, myself, and I. I always go back to that. Me, myself, and I. You need to get up. You need to do this. You need to, at your time, of course, no threats upon myself. That's not healthy. But sometimes, life be lifing, and you just have to start. You have to start. I'm I enjoy writing journals. I write
Mm.
little notes to myself. WhatsApp has you can now leave messages for on your own number. And when
Oh,
I'm out and about, it's
yeah.
easy for me to write. If I meet someone, if I just met someone that's in this field, it's easier for me just to write a little WhatsApp chat for myself, and write, just to remind myself, okay, I went here today, I did this today. Because sometimes I don't have my journal with me and I can't write it all. You know, what did I learn today when I was out and about? What business did I support today? Who can I support ongoing? And that's what it's all about. I when I have visitors, friends and family visit the island, I learn more in their eyes while they're here,
Mm.
because the joy of seeing something for the first time is how I saw it when I first came in 1990. to New Providence. The joy that lingers with, every conversation that we have when they go home. Oh my goodness, remember when you took me here and took now this is like way back in the day when I took these friends and family, like, like when we used to travel here together when I wasn't living here. And I have to capture that and remember that for when I'm not feeling my best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I do when I'm not feeling my best. And I see the island in a new perspective. I love all the family islands. I think I have like maybe 5 more to go, and then I've seen all the islands.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. But every island in the Bahamas is uniquely uh, their own.
Mm.
Because I've had conversations with like, oh, every island is the same, just like in the South Pacific. It's not. It has its own depth, its own warmness, its own explore and see. So every island I've been to in the Bahamas, there's always something different,
Mm.
and I love it. And that's how I want to move forward in my life, exploring experiences, travels, and learning other cultures. And I've done that, and I'm currently doing that as well, meeting and greeting like you. You love sharing, doing these podcasts because you learn from others and their story, and it counts, it matters.
This is it. And I find so many times those interwoven links between the people that I interview, and I guess it's what I hope for my listeners as well. I hope that people are maybe are hearing it, or
Right.
maybe just because you hear, as you said, because you hear it from a different voice, sometimes it might connect a bit more. But
Hmm.
to understand that these people who are challenging themselves, people who are speaking positively to themselves, people who have known dark places, but
Right.
then still are some of the lightest people you ever meet. You know, this is what shows you that doing the internal work is
Right.
so important. And by the way, Fina is also a life coach.
Yeah. I am enjoying the today, the moment, because I know after this day is on to the next, I know it'll never be repeated again.
Hmm.
And listen, I am doing, I'm not trying, I'm in the do stage of my life. And I also, when I speak to others, I listen to what they're saying. And sometimes, the word trying, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. But I also softly remind them that you're not trying, you're doing,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, how can I do this? How can I do that? How can I do everything that I wanted to do? And I said, well, you might not be able to do everything right this very moment, but you could start.
Hmm.
And it doesn't take 50 something years to accomplish what you want to do, in the future. You just have to start, like how we spoke about it earlier. I was having lunch with my other friend, and we both turned 50 last year. And I looked up at her and I said, listen, you and I are 100 years old. And she dropped her fork and her whatever and she just started like laughing uncontrollably. And then I started laughing too. So we came to the realization that both of us are 100. And, what more do we want? What more can we achieve? And there's so much more that we can achieve.
Hmm.
And through this podcast, I want other listeners to know that you are not alone. Your story matters. And if you have the strength and the will to speak about your story, I want you to know that Suzanne having this podcast is an outlet to share, to be authentically you and telling your story. Because at the end of it all, there's no one else in this billion population that can tell your own story but you.
That's it. That's it. And make every moment count.
Yes.
That's,
Make every moment count because there's not going to be a repeat.
yeah,
There may be repeats in a balance between positivity and negativity. Of course there will be, right? And if there's no balance, bring yourself to that positive balance, and you know, and live your life. Live your life, because you matter.
hmm
You matter.
Oh, Fina, thank you so much. And I have to say, everyone who wants to, like, you have got to look up Fina on her Instagram because
Yes.
she is
Thank you.
up.
Thank you for the shout out.
You are. I mean, you're gorgeous. You're gorgeous looking at you here. But you look at your Instagram posts, and seriously, I go through and I think, wow, I want your
Mm.
wardrobe. I want your
Ah,
hair. I
I
want your
want your wardrobe.
sunglasses.
Okay.
And
We're
I,
fashionistas.
I,
Suzanne,
I
we're
know. I'm like,
fashionistas.
I need Fina to, I want to meet up with you and have a photo session.
Of course.
And I need you to show me how to do your poses because
Of course.
you see these poses, you see these earrings, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
And yes, okay, maybe I'm speaking more to the women here than the men listening, but I think the men will love it
Yes, of
too.
course. I can give it. I can give advice for men and their attire as well.
That's
Yes, of
right.
course.
That's right.
And
So,
posing for me, it didn't always look like the Instagram. Back in the day, I was more of a just dressing pants. It wasn't until I turned 40
yeah.
that I started wearing dresses and more, into dresses and the fashion. And I mean, I just and thrifting on this island too. You'd find some great things. Like all my jewelry that I wear too is from thrifting on this island, and I love it. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm here there, with
Yeah.
my friends,
Yeah.
and you can always find vintage stuff and jewelry, and that's another podcast because
I
there is so
know.
many things to do on this island that if I did not have my friends to tell me, listen, this is what they do here, or this is you can get this here, and listen, at the end of I always say that, but okay, but there's enough space and room here on the island to create what you want
hmm
and to move forward, and including myself, the self-sabotage and the talk and everything negativity that you can't do this. You listen, I'm living proof that you can. Suzanne is also proof that you can,
And we're
and
not
everyone,
perfect. We still have those
right,
voices.
exactly. You know,
hmm
um, there's no perfection.
Yes.
That's a goal that's, is it obtained? Perfection,
No, that's right.
you know? Love the life that you're living, because life be life in.
That's
But
right.
add ingredients that bring you happiness and joy. Surround yourself with others that, think forward, and forward thinkers that also give you ingredients to move forward.
hmm
That's what I've learned.
And I'm just making a note here that I'm going to be getting Fina to take me on a thrift shop photo shoot.
Yes, of course. Yes, make him know. Let's do this. You know what? I'm not saying no. Anything you ask me, I'm not going to say no in 2026. Let's do it. Posing, thrifting,
Love
a
it.
photo shoot.
Love
Yes,
it. Love
we're in a
it.
world now that technology is also forward.
Yep.
So, our handheld cameras, I have
Listeners,
my,
just wait and see. There's going to be
Yes,
some amazing model shots of me somewhere
exactly.
wearing thrifted items
Yes.
that Fina has helped me pick out and pose
Oh
for.
my goodness, I'm so excited. Let's do this. Wherever you're listening from today, whether it's in-house in the Bahamas or
Hmm.
internationally, I hope you enjoyed our podcast today, which I feel like Suzanne should be saying, but I'm also saying it too. And I just want to thank you for tuning in and learning with us, beside us.
Yeah, precisely. Now, if people would like to follow you, Instagram, I was just trying to look up. Can you remind me of your
Yes, it's
handle?
SoseFina Hulu.
Beautiful.
So SoseFinaHulu. That's my Instagram handle. And you can also find me on Facebook on my like page. It's also SoseFina Hulu. And
Beautiful.
before you ask, because I know some people ask, oh, where'd you get it? I'm named after my grandmother, SoseFina Hulu Tungua, and from Tonga. So yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful. And just so you know, that making every moment count was
yes,
actually what you wrote on your post that
yes.
was from your grandmother's funeral.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So
Ah,
that's full circle for you.
that
Thank
is
you.
that is full circle. This podcast is full circle and starting off the weekend. And Suzanne, thank you. Malo aupito, which means thank you very much in Tongan. Fa'afetai lava, which also means thank you in Samoan. I wish
Oh,
you a great weekend, and I look forward for more meetups. Okay,
mhm.
okay, we gotta do our first meetup because we're always talking.
Now we've got
We
to
got
take
this.
some action. We're going to take some action on that. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you, Fina, for giving us of your time. Please, everyone, like, subscribe, comment. If you want to ask Fina any questions, if you want to follow her, that would be amazing. And let's make every moment count. Thank you for listening. And I hope to have you again listening shortly. This is Warm Hugs with Suzanne.